So one of the most common questions I get is, Antonio, can you give me that one piece of advice which will set me on the path to success? Guys, it doesn't work that way. I don't like that question because it's basically you're looking for a shortcut. You're looking for a hack. And in life, there aren't hacks. We all have to go through this. I understand the importance of great advice, of having something to remind you of deeper meaning. I've reached out to some of my friends across the web. I'm talking millionaires. I'm talking warriors. I'm talking successful men who have shared with me so I can share with you their words of wisdom so that you can be successful. So first up on this list, the plan is nothing, but planning is everything. And I'm going to attribute this one to Mad Dog Mattis. General Mattis, served under him when I was with 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines over in Iraq. I can tell you this guy he's a hard charger. And every Marine under him understood that, hey, mission comes first. And what I learned and loved about the United States Marine Corps is that we were adaptable. We oftentimes come up with these grandiose plans, these things, how we see things are going to unfold. And then life happens. I think it was Clausewitz that talked about, every plan is great until contact with the enemy. And that's going to happen to you throughout life. You're going to have an idea of where I'm going with college or where I'm going to go with my job. And you walk in and day 2, you're fired. What happens? And when you go back and you realize, the plan is nothing but the preparation, the getting yourself in order. So when you run into that roadblock, you get fired on your second day, you say, you know what? This is not a reflection of me. The company was downsizing and I have a lot to offer. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go off and start my own company. The quality of the people in your organization matters. That's from Brian Scudamore over at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So when I read this quote, when I'm looking over it and I'm reading what he wrote, and by the way, we've got a great support article I'm going to link to down in the description. But as I'm going through and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, gosh, that is so important. I talk about this, how we become the average of the people we surround ourselves with. And where do we spend the majority of our time? At work. And if you think about who do you surround yourself with? If it's your company, what kind of people have you built in there? If it's not your company, how have you made a conscious decision to surround yourself daily with these people? Are they bringing you down? Are they inspiring you? Be a person of value. And that's from John Lee Dumas over at Entrepreneur on Fire. And I think he took that from, I think it was Albert Einstein, talked about being a person of, try not to be a person of success, but a person of value, something like that quote. What I see and what I find that I resonate with are other people who stand for a bigger mission. They're really trying to change their industry for the better. They're trying to add value. It's not, yes, money is nice and it's a great scorekeeper and it pays the bills, but it's not the biggest thing. And when you realize that and you get really passionate about what you're doing and you work to become the best every day and add value, you find that success just follows you. It's an amazing concept. And by the way, if you haven't checked out John Lee Dumas, you want to go check him out. I served with the guy over in Iraq. Amazing warrior. Fail your way to success. And I'm going to attribute that one to Aaron Marino. Now, I can't tell you that Aaron has said that exact thing. In fact, when he watches this video, he'll probably be a little bit surprised. But I'm going to link over to his Darkest Days video. And what I love about this is he's very vulnerable and he reveals how he failed so many times before he tasted success. People see that he was on Shark Tank twice, but what they don't see is everything he went through, how many times he had to wake up super early in the morning for years. He was, getting paid less than minimum wage, trying to run multiple businesses, which went into the ground by no fault of his own, and how he just said, I failed and I'm going to fall, I'm going to get up and maybe I'll fail again. But all of these failures he learned from. He got better, he got sharper, he got harder, he got stronger. And that's how he was able to build himself up. Change the people around you. Peter Shankman. So if you're not familiar with Peter Shankman, I know he first popped on my radar whenever he owned the company, Help a Reporter Out. He turned around and sold that, and now he runs like Shank Minds and I think Faster Than Normal and some other pretty cool websites I'll link to down in the description. But this guy's always, when I look at him, he seems really hyperactive. He seems like someone that's always on the go. And he was talking about how he was complaining to a skydiver just about like who he's surrounded by, how he can't change their minds, they're not listening to him. And this old skydiver is like, well, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Literally, if you are not having an effect on the people and you're speaking with them intelligently, you're logically having a conversation, and it's having no effect, physically remove yourself from that situation. You may have to leave that company. You may have to remove the people who are working for you or you're managing. But if you can't change them, literally change out the people. Mediocre execution beats a brilliant idea. I'm going to attribute this one to Rob Adams over at the University of Texas. He's in charge of Venture Labs. He was a mentor of mine when I was at the University of Texas getting my MBA and first starting on the path to entrepreneurship. But I remember going through his book, A Good Hard Kick in the Ass. It's a great book, by the way. And what Rob talked about is brilliant ideas are a dime a dozen. Everyone's got an idea. Everyone's got a concept. It's about who actually takes action on it and executes. And I know now as a business owner, having worked with many, many people, we talk about ideas all the time. If you really want to have that idea, go to the next level. Or if you want to differentiate yourself in a company, be someone who is going to go that extra mile, who will start to execute, even if it's something that you're just doing a preliminary, but you're actually putting forth some of the effort. You're going to have something to show. Let's get into taking action and execution. Don't stay in the same industry. John Rampton, he's the founder of Do. So I really like this quote because it applies to me, and I think it applies to a lot of you all that have dreams, that have aspirations to do something in an industry that you have no experience. You have no degree. My degree, Origins of Behavior, which is a soft science, philosophy. And what was I supposed to do with that? Oh, I went into the United States Marine Corps. Then I ran a nonprofit in Ukraine. And then I went into the style industry. And I had a business school stop. Like, that isn't a normal path. And I want that to be inspiration for anyone that wants to do something that's a little bit off the wall, that wants to do something that they maybe didn't go to school for, that they have no formal training, because that's where the magic happens. When you go if you look at the way I create style, I bring in a lot of science. Do you think that happens because I love science? I used to read science news as a kid. I would study science in college. I would read scientific papers. So it just made sense to me to apply that to style. And because I came from a different industry, I had a different approach, I was able to bring it and make it relevant to people in a unique way. Be an all-star or move on. And that's from Nick Loper over at Side Hustle Nation. I really like this one because you have to be true to yourself. You have to realize, okay, maybe I'm in the oil and gas industry. Maybe I'm in the shoe industry. Maybe I'm in the web. I'm building out websites. But this isn't really what I like. And because of that, I'm never going to be super at it. I'm never going to be one of the top people. Now, here's the thing with careers, with success, with distribution of money. If you're not in the top 5%, when it comes to producers, when it comes to sales, when it comes to all these industries, you are not going to make like the lion's share of money. You want to find an industry that you can go into, and yeah, you may start at the bottom, but you're so passionate about it, you love it, and you realize you've got a natural knack for it that you can immediately rise to the top. And when you can get to that 5%, that top 2%, that top 1%, all of a sudden you're able to earn the rewards, you're able to be that all-star, and you're able to dominate. Work smarter, not harder. This one was sent to me by Ray Higdon over at Forever Wealth Club. And Ray didn't come up with this one, and he freely admits he actually remembered this DuckTales episode, which I was a huge fan of DuckTales. And Scrooge McDuck has to get a whole bunch of coal into a fire. So he takes a bicycle and creates this machine which automatically starts throwing the coal in. And he says that episode just had a profound, as a kid, he just always remembered that there were smart ways to do something. And I think that we get so busy with what we're doing, the projects we're working on, that oftentimes we forget what is the end goal. We get so wrapped up in the process, we lose sight of, can it be something very simple that we could do? It. One exercise that I do with my company and my people is oftentimes I take away a lot of resources. I give them an impossible task that forces them to cut away 90% of everything else they're doing and focus in on, is there a way to do only what Antonio's asking us to do? Always be asking, what is the end goal? Look at it and make sure that you're not getting lost down in there in the trees and that you're going in the right direction. All right, gentlemen, now it's your turn. I want to hear from you down in the comments. What did I miss? What quotes would you add? What piece of career advice have you heard, been given, read in the book that you would add to this list? And if you want more, go check out the support article. In the support article, we go into more, we have more quotes over there. We've got into a lot more detail. I talk about the stories. I also link over to all the entrepreneurs who, by the way, I'm going to link to you down in the description below. So go check them out. Some amazing people. I think they've got a lot of great advice, whether you're looking to start a podcast or an online company, or you're just looking for someone to be inspired by. And I do want to thank Brendan Allen Barrett. He's the guy that helped me with this guest post. He came to me with the idea, and he's a viewer, he's a reader just like you. So if you ever want to do something on Real Men, Real Style, you want to contact me, don't be afraid to reach out. I've got a great contact form over at Real Men, Real Style. I love interacting, learning from you guys, and I really appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.